I'm going to share this story. And let me get it here. It's actually, I'm going to share this from the Bible, from the book of Acts. So I want to talk about a friendship or a togetherness that broke apart because they were journeying together. Let me just read it. Acts 15:35 through 41. This is Paul, Barnabas, and it included Mark, John, Mark, John, Mark. One of them, Mark, John, or John, Mark. Anyway, all right. So the three of them had gone on a missionary journey. This is prior to Acts 15. The three of them had gone on this missionary journey. And in the middle of the missionary journey, Mark decided to bail out. He decided he didn't want to be on the journey anymore. So Mark left Paul and Barnabas to finish the journey. Mark was supposed to be their assistant on this journey. He was supposed to be the assistant. And so the assistant, for whatever reason, decided he didn't want to do it. And so right in the middle of the journey, he went on and just left. All right. So now, that was the backdrop of this story. Now here in Acts 15:35 and 14. I'm going to start at 35. But Paul and Barnabas stayed in Antioch, teaching and preaching the word of the Lord with many others also. Now, the next verse starts with the second missionary journey. So this is the first missionary journey is the one that Mark bailed on. All right, that was one. So now, here it is, time for them supposedly maybe to take what this is saying is their second missionary journey. Verse 36. After some days, Paul said to Barnabas, let's return and visit the brothers and sisters in every city in which we proclaim the word of the Lord and see how they are. I'm reading from the first column, which is the New American Standard. Okay, verse 37. Barnabas wanted to take John, called Mark, along with them also. But Paul was of the opinion that they should not take along that they should not take along with them the man who deserted them in Pamphylia. Paul did not want him to go because in Paul's mind and Paul's opinion, John Mark had deserted them on the first missionary journey. He was like, see ya, I don't want to do this anymore. So he left. So now when they're getting ready to go back and take a second missionary journey, as this chapter, as this pericope says, Barnabas wanted to grab Paul up again, Mark up again and take him with them again. And Paul said, no, he deserted us. He can't. Okay. But Paul was of the opinion that they should not take along with them the man who deserted them in Pamphylia and had not gone with them to the work. He didn't go work. Now, spiritual friendships. Let me just stop this right here. Spiritual friendships, soul friendships, friendships with ministry. A big part of our friendship is ministry, because this is our life. This is what we do. This is it. So if you got a friendship with ministry and they don't want to do ministry, they don't, and ministry is work. They're not prepared for the sacrifice of ministry. That can kind of mess up your friendship. So Paul said to Barnabas, no. Why should we take the person who deserted us? Verse 39. Now it turned into such a sharp disagreement. So this means Paul and Barnabas were going at it. It turned into such a sharp disagreement that they separated one from another. And Barnabas took Mark with him, and they sailed to Cyprus. And Paul chose Silas and left after being entrusted by the brothers to the grace of the Lord. And they traveled to Syria and Cilicia to strengthen the churches there. So Paul and Barnabas couldn't agree. One was like, let's take him. The other was like, not having it. And they had a sharp disagreement. These two soul friends had a sharp, friends in the ministry, they had a sharp disagreement over Mark. And clearly they couldn't come to a shared agreement on whether Mark could or could not go with them on this second journey. And so the only thing they could do, since apparently Barnabas wasn't going to go without Mark and Paul wasn't going to go with Mark, so they had to separate. Barnabas and Mark went one way. Paul chose him another partner in ministry, and they went the other way, and the work continued. But the good thing about the separation is that two completely different groups of churches were recipients of the ministry that started with Paul and Barnabas as they split and went a different way. All right. So sometimes the friendships are going to split up. The partnerships, the soul friendships are going to split up. And in this case, it's split up behind ministry. They could not go together because they couldn't agree. Does that mean that anybody was wrong in this? Was either one of them wrong? Should they have been able to come to a meeting of the minds? Should they have been able to agree to disagree? I would say in this situation, there was no agree to disagree. If one was insisting on taking them and the other was insisting on not taking them, there was no agree to disagree. There was nothing else to do but part, because the work of the Lord still has to go on. The destiny that is on our lives still has to go on. The authenticity of who we are in Christ still has to take place. And if it can't take place with us together, we're not going to stop doing the work of the Lord so we can stay together. We're going to keep doing the work of the Lord if we have to split.